Welcome to the Rusted Garden. Today is September 3rd. This is another tour video. It's going to be a long one. This is really all going to be about transitioning over from your warm weather crops, your summer garden, over to the fall garden. And I'm going to actually show you where I'm setting up different pockets of my garden with the cool weather crops. So I'll explain that as we go through, and I'll talk about cool weather vegetables. Not going to talk so much about tomatoes. Going to be finishing up video number 6 of 6 for growing large tomatoes. This is the plot that I was using, and you see that they did really well. I've been talking about hydrogen peroxide, and the tomatoes have survived into September, which is really unheard of in my area. Now, with that, they were doing well, and they're still doing pretty good, but now we've had going on a 10th day of 95-degree temperatures. A heat wave came in, so now they're getting beat up by the heat. Just wanted to show you nice Cherokee Purple. That's going to be about a 1-pound plant. Tucked in here, well, the bean plants here, if you've been following my show or my series and tours, these were beans that were planted late with the idea that they would be put out after some of the diseases drop in my area. For instance, if you start beans, say, in May, and you have diseases that show up in June, your beans get affected. Plant some beans later in July, beginning of August, they start growing after the climate and temperatures and all that are right for certain diseases, and they're disease free. My goal is to have these grow and produce all the way up until the frost comes. Dropped in a bunch of different beans in here, and you can see that they produced well. That is okra. More beans in the back, and even peas that I dropped back in the later July, but with all this heat, they're just getting beat up. Peas are cool weather crops. They like 40 to 50 degree nights, 60 to 70 degree days. As long as you have about 60 days until the hard frost, you can drop peas in your garden now. Now, because the tomatoes were doing so well, which I'm grateful for, I haven't cleared out any beds really for cool weather planting. So I'm going to be planting in pockets. I had one tomato loss this year. Going to drop radishes right into that space. Going to clear this out space-wise, put in my leafy greens. And then I'm also going to clean all of these plants up, remove brown, yellow leaves, and get them ready to really start getting in shape so that I can harvest them throughout September and October. Let me do this section. We'll do the tour a little bit differently. We'll go section by section. Alright, so I cleaned up this section, got the cool weather vegetables out. I'm actually using these old wire pieces of shelving from those greenhouses that you can assemble and take down. Usually that plastic wears out, the plastic's damaged. Save the racks, the shelving units, because you can just dome them up a little bit, put them over your greens, and it protects them from rabbits and birds and such. So that is lettuce back there, some endive. I like seed starting my cool weather crops in those 6-packs. Some people say, well, why do you do that? If you have the space, just put them right into the ground. Obviously I don't have the space, so I seed start them and give them a 3 or 4 week jump, 2, 3, 4 week jump in the cells, and then I plant them right into the garden. That's kohlrabi. Got some beets down, and I'll be working my way throughout this section. I cleaned up the leeks, removed all the yellow, dying leaves. Same with the onions. Those onions aren't going to bulb, but these will all be used for soup. The onions and the leeks. Also have a ton of tomatoes, lots of beans, so I'll do a harvesting video at the end and just show you everything I take out of here on September 3rd. Another probably 1-pound tomato, close to it, maybe 14 ounces. Just look at all the tomatoes. So we're going to get into this section. I've got my yard-long beans. When they get larger, the beans get larger, obviously. They're well harvested. Let's see if I can find one. Well, they're all getting a little bit big, but you want to harvest them by the time they get to that size. They're tender, you can use them just like green beans. So what I do when they get to something like this, take the beans out, saute them for 15 or 20 minutes in a little bit of olive oil, tenderize the beans, and they're absolutely delicious. So I have to get in there, clean out that space, have a cucumber that died back, and see what I can plant in there. The peppers are doing really well. They're on their 3rd round of production. They're growing 2 plants per container. Containers have the bottoms cut out and it just becomes a mini raised bed. The root systems can get into the ground, so watering's not that much of an issue. Set up this space for peas. About 3 or 4 inches apart, you can just do a grid, drop 1 or 2 peas into the hole, about a ½ an inch deep, don't go deeper than that, and they should do really well. Your cool weather crops, peas, lettuces, broccoli, cauliflower, kohlrabi, beets, their leaves can take a freeze, a light frost, and they don't get damaged. You want to plant your cool weather vegetables lettuces and greens 40 to 50 days before hard frost comes or consecutive hard frost days come. Peas you want to get into the ground where they'll have 60 to 75 days to mature before a heavy frost comes in. And heavy frost I kind of define as 29 degrees or lower. The peas back there that I put in early, they're not going to make it. They're just all kind of beat up because the tomatoes did so well it blocked the light. But as these start coming up, the tomatoes should start dying out. All right, let's go over to the other side. Here's the other section of my garden that we're going to clean up. Then I'll give you a tour of the rest and show you all the produce that I harvest. That's the zucchini plant that I did a video on. I'll link that, on using hydrogen peroxide to treat powdery mildew. It's doing really well. Can see some zucchini growing back there. We're going to take out this cucumber plant. It is spent where I let cucumbers yellow. That's where I'm going to collect the seeds. Let them stay on the vine. As long as the vine is alive, they're not going to rot. They'll get large, they'll get yellow, you'll get mature seeds, and you can save them. So I'll clean that up, and I'm going to drop peas down. This is a roulette habanero that does not have heat. It's actually like 1/20th of a jalapeno, but it has a great habanero citrus flavor. So let me clean up this section. So I cleaned up this space, cut back some of the grapevines. That's asparagus back there. Cut that back so that plenty of light will come into this area. Removed the cucumbers. Going to save those. Actually going to open those up and save those seeds today. About 4 inches apart, 1/2 inch deep. I dropped 2 seeds into each hole there, and I'll cover them up, water them in. I sell seeds at my seed shop. About 80% of what I grow here you can actually buy from my seed shop, except for the All America Selections winners. You have to buy them at other places. Right now I have a special going. I'll put a link in the iCards. You can get 7 packs of cool weather vegetables, different varieties, for $5. So that's like 70 cents a pack. All right, let's make a move. Hey, you know what? Let's just walk over to here. So I have my asparagus finishing out there. Lots of grape tomatoes coming in. Everything's doing well. One thing I'm going to try and do is water everything heavily today, September 3rd, and hopefully I'm done watering my ground plants for September. All right, let's go to the rest of the garden. That's kind of fun. That's a goji berry. I'm going to have goji berries soon. Fig plant is producing figs. Could have figs in there. Basil. That's the pixie grape. It died off, I guess, from a fungus. It could have been when I was testing hydrogen peroxide spray. So grapes will have to be tested better with H2O2, but the leaves are coming back. Here's the area that I just planted with peas. I mean, it is just packed full of tomatoes. Lots of large tomatoes. I don't know if we're on the 3rd or 4th wave of the Seychelles green beans. They're all going to get harvested. Things are growing well, so I don't want to jinx myself. Just tons of growth. This might be working on a 14-ounce tomato right there. Peppers, blueberries, more cucumbers. Oh, see, sometimes you find stuff you don't even know that's growing. Glad I grabbed that one. More asparagus. This will all get cleaned up like I was just showing you in the previous part of this video. Let's get up to, let's go to the other part of the garden, to the peppers, and then to the deck. Swiss chard, bright lights chard are all coming back. If we didn't have this ridiculous 95-degree temps again, they'd be doing a lot better. We're going to actually have over 100 heat index for the next 3 or 4 days. My green stalk tower, doing extremely well. I highly recommend purchasing one of those if you want to grow vertically. More green beans. I love green beans. One tip I have is grow what you like. I was growing too much. I mean, vegetables I didn't mind eating, but I didn't like them that much. So really grow what you love and grow a lot of it. The hops plants are doing well. The flowers are ready to be harvested. Still learning how to do that. Let the ones up top stay on there too long. They're starting to brown off, but there's plenty of them. So I'm going to harvest those, let them dry. I'll be brewing beer this September. Coming around to this side, I did a video on how to save your kales from whiteflies and loopers, and they're doing really well. They're coming back. Have my final round of dwarf tomatoes. My leafy greens are in there. Things are looking pretty good. All right, let's get into there. I'm going to clean it up a little bit for the video. All right, I straightened that area up a little bit. Early girl, doing extremely well again. Hydrogen peroxide really can help you with your tomato gardening. The herbs, I shot a video on harvesting them. They're all coming back extremely well. They're almost ready to be cut back again and have the different herbs dried. Here's my eggplant. Lots ready to be picked. They do extremely well in containers. This one's flowering. This is your standard eggplant, but I gotta wait for some to grow. I think they'll be okay if I get another good 60 days. Right in this space is where I just shot the video on peas. I'll link that if you want to see how to set up, you know, basic trellising just using tree branches. This is my Brandywine, packed full of tomatoes, over 7 feet tall. I just dropped in radishes. If you plant between established vegetables, you want to give them at least 6 inches to 12 inches before you put, you know, the shovel in and turn the ground. Tomatoes have surface roots. It's okay. I sort of tore those up in that space. Drop down radishes. I'll be doing a video on that in the future. This is how I'm just tucking in more radishes in there. 2 more different varieties. That's how I'm really tucking in different cool weather crops. It's the morning, so the sun hasn't come over here yet. More radishes down there. So I'm really transitioning over. These are beans that I'm letting dry. Gonna save those seeds for next year. Another pole bean that's gonna be harvested. This is a garden in the corner here I kind of let go. I kind of use that to see how different sprays work compared to other parts of my garden. Oh, right in there, that's a potato. I'm trying to grow fall potatoes. I started that back in July, I think. I'm seeing if I can get 2 seasons worth of peppers here. Beautiful bell pepper. The peppers had a great year. I didn't do a lot of videos on my community garden this year. I just didn't have time. But the peppers here are doing really well. Next year, the community garden is just going to be a pepper and green bean garden with maybe 1 or 2 tomato plants thrown in there. I'm going to go with the vegetables I really like, and I'm going to do all kinds of peppers over there. And green bean varieties and bean varieties that I've never grown before. Sweet potatoes. Okay, we've seen that. Let's go over to the other pepper garden real quick. This is my scalloped squash. You can tuck squash plants throughout your garden. You can see one right down there. My serranos. I'm not going to harvest any of the peppers. I'm going to do a full pepper video with harvest and go over each variety that's growing in there. But they're doing really well. Very happy with my pepper production, as I said, this year. Look at all those poblano types. Going to be excellent on the grill. Pretty much, you know, regular low feeding of the pepper plants, and I've just let them go. It's been a great year. Alright, let's go up onto the deck. Peas have been transplanted in there. They were started in cups on 8.5. The Marglobe is doing really well. Little marble peas over there, they get about 2 feet tall. Right in there I have peppers and tomatoes. They get hit with sprays. I figure if the transplants can take the sprays, the larger plants can. That's how I do a lot of testing. Lettuce in there, that was seed started back on August 5th. Those are Tiny Tim tomatoes, and you can see just how well these all came back. I thought I was going to have to remove these. This is what I have to do every year, 15 years. They're all coming back, they're all producing. So I have a little bit less space now for my cool weather garden, but that's okay. Just dropped in some lettuce and peas. I just did a video on that. I do make videos for All America Selections. That's a YouTube channel that doesn't run ads. If you want to check them out, you can find all kinds of gardening information. You don't have to watch the YouTube ads. There's a link in the description, All America Selections. And a couple more places where I am starting my cool weather vegetables. Containers are great places to grow peas. And this is the garden as of September 3rd. Let me get to harvesting, I'll show you that. No cooking today, I just don't have the time. Here's today's harvest. The Asian red beans, these are all going to be shelled. The beans will be sauteed in some olive oil. I'm going to make a tomato and green bean soup. Most of these tomatoes will be given to friends, the ones that aren't cracked and looking good. The ugly ones are going to be turned into sauce. Hope you enjoyed the video, and remember, now is a great time to seed start some of your cool weather crops and flats. Just put them outside in the shade, and in about 2 or 3 weeks you'll have transplants that are ready to go out into your garden. Thanks for watching, and please check out my seed shop at www.therustedgarden.com. Thanks for watching.